Pittsburgh Steelers had a wild draft overall, as a lot of attention was on them every time they had a selection, because were they going to select Shedeur Sanders? My name's Tyler, here with my brother Ryan, and we are going to break down the Steelers 2025 draft class, which does not include Shedeur Sanders, but we'll get to that here in a second. Before we do that, be sure to hit that subscribe button and leave a like and a comment. Send Ryan an early wedding day present, as he's getting married here in a couple of weeks, by hitting that subscribe button. And Ryan, with that being said, let's pull up the Pittsburgh Steelers draft class. So their first round pick, Derrick Harmon, defensive tackle out of Oregon. A very a sad, but I also think sweet storyline that came out of them with the passing of Derrick Harmon's mother. I really feel for that. I couldn't imagine what that moment was like, but at the same time, though, too, I'm happy he got to experience that moment with his mom. And so, Derek, we were all thinking about you, and I'm rooting for you in the NFL. Even though my mom's side of the family is all Cleveland Browns fans, we're all rooting for you, and so we hope you guys have a great career. Just because that's just a very sweet story. Well, I'm glad you got to experience
Bitter,
that with your mom. It's
bittersweet, I guess.
bittersweet, yeah. And
Yeah.
so, but then back to the Steelers draft, they ended up using their second round pick on DK Metcalf, which I think is good value. And so then
Yeah.
the third round, when they came up, pick 83, everybody was thinking they'd take Shedeur, but they didn't. They got Kaleb Johnson, running back out of Iowa. I think that I like that pick a lot also. It was the intensity around, like, are they going to make that pick? And nobody thought that we'd had that same intensity here with their fourth round pick, but they ended up going with Jack Sawyer, edge rusher out of Ohio State. Then in the fifth round, Yahya Black, defensive tackle out of Iowa. Then quarterback Will Howard out of Ohio State. In the seventh round, Carson Bruener, linebacker from Washington. And then the final pick, Donte Kent, cornerback from Central Michigan. So really, really fun draft to watch, just because of the hype and everything around Shedeur Sanders. And like, where they going to go to them there? What's going to happen with the quarterback position? They did technically address the quarterback spot, but if I'm being honest, Will Howard's not, like, I view him as like a typical day three quarterback that's going to kind of
Yeah.
ride off into the sunset. And so, but here, I think they got a lot of really good value with their first couple of picks overall. And I'm also including, like, when I get to my grade, the DK Metcalf trade as well. But want to throw
Yeah.
to you, what are your thoughts on the Pittsburgh Steelers 2025 draft?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was good. The one big qualm I have with it is just the lack of quarterback. Like, I know they took Will Howard there in the 6th, but 19 times out of 20, those guys pan out to just be at best like a backup. They're putting a lot of faith in Aaron Rodgers to sign a contract with them. If not, it's going to be the Mason Rudolph, Will Howard show, I think, in Pittsburgh, and I just don't know if that's conducive to success. With that being said, it's hard to poke holes in any of the picks that they did make uh, uh, ahead of Will Howard there. Like Derrick Harmon, thought was a good value. Kaleb Johnson, I thought was a good value. Jack Sawyer, even I had a third round grade on Jack Sawyer, so they get him there in the middle of the fourth. I think that was also good value. So, I mean, they drafted well. They got DK Metcalf with the second pick.
Yeah, like
There's not a lot to dislike here, except for the fact that they're relying on Aaron Rodgers to be trustworthy.
I I I will say, so they wouldn't have gone this route unless they knew, like, that a quarterback was coming. And so I think one of two things is going to happen. One, like they have Mason Rudolph, so they definitely are, like, they have something in the back pocket. And I think it's one of two things. I think, like, they're waiting on Aaron Rodgers, and I think there's a handshake agreement. I think, from me reading into, I think Rodgers, something's going on in his personal life that he wants to take care of first before he signs this thing. Because I think when he signs that contract, then he's contractually obligated to then, like, going to team training, going to these meetings, living in Pittsburgh during this time. So if there's something personal going on, like, he might not
Yeah,
want that commitment right now at this moment. Or maybe he is just waiting, and then the Steelers also know, like, hey, we're going to go trade for a quarterback that we know can go and do well, or and not say no, go and do well, just a stopgap guy. Maybe there's something with Kirk Cousins that, like, hey, the Falcons, if this doesn't work out, we got a handshake agreement. We'll send you a fifth or sixth round pick. Get Kirk Cousins, and
yeah,
we'll work out the contract situation there. Because I highly doubt they're going to go into this season with Mason Rudolph and Will Howard and Skylar Thompson as their three as their three quarterbacks, like in that quarterback room. Like that's not going to
Yeah.
be a good thing. That being said, that would be a very Steelers thing to do, and I guarantee you they're still going to end up 10-7. But I really like what Derrick Harmon brings to this team as a whole. He had a bunch of pressures this past season. I think it's going to be a great compliment overall to TJ Watt, and then that front seven as well. Who's the other guy that they have here?
Keanu Benton, Cam
Uh,
Hayward,
like
Alex
kind of been
Highsmith.
Alex Highsmith was the guy I was going to say then. And then Jack Sawyer, I think he's just a Pittsburgh guy. I was talking with Dad about that, and he's like, he's not the most athletic guy, but he will break his nose like for the team. Like, and he will just devour these guys. Like, and he
Yeah.
does have good instincts. He will get after it. He does have that Pittsburgh Steelers mindset. I think the guy that I actually really like, and it's really good value, getting Kaleb Johnson there in the third round. They needed a running back. This is what we've talked about a lot this offseason and what they do with running backs. Like, they don't re-sign their top guys. They let them ride out their rookie contracts, and then they say, thanks for being here. Like, wish you nothing but the best. Like, we're not
Yeah.
paying you this money. So 4 years from now, the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to draft a running back in the top 100 picks. Just calling it out right now. Caleb Johnson, enjoy your time in Pittsburgh for the next 4 years. But I also think too, though, with his time at Iowa, big guy, he can't catch the ball out of the backfield. I think similar to Sawyer, similar to Harmon, I think he's got that like Pittsburgh Steeler type mindset. Like, I'm going to run it through you and get back
Yeah.
to that kind of old ways of Pittsburgh Steelers football.
Yeah. I mean, he's 6'2", 225, and he runs like he's made of metal. Like,
Yeah.
he meets guys at the hole with a vengeance, and I think Pittsburgh is gonna love him. He already looks good in red and or not red and black, black and yellow.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a great fit. That's what I was saying. Like, I just don't see a lot of places where I can really like poke holes in this draft to make a case, be like, oh well, you shouldn't have taken him. That's a stupid pick. Shador Sanders was on the board. Like, it's a good draft. I like and then I think you also factor in the fact they traded for DK Metcalf, who's 28. They signed him to a big extension. Like, they'll have him for 3 or 4 years. I mean, it's hard to complain here. I just, while I can't fault them for not picking a quarterback, well, they picked Will Howard, but not picking a quarterback of the future really. Uh I struggle with going into the season with Will Howard, Mason Rudolph, and Skylar Thompson. They need the Aaron Rodgers situation to work out, and maybe they'll trade for Kirk Cousins if it doesn't. But
Yeah.
I there's a lot of ifs, ands, and whatevers in there. Uh,
Well,
hoping that it's going to work out.
and that's what to me, like, I think there's a handshake agreement like in place. I
Yeah,
believe, and so, but we'll have to wait and see if they made the decision to wait and rely on this overall. But that being said, though, too, of all the franchises there, I feel like the Steelers are, maybe this is, someone's going to make a comment and disagree with this, but I do feel like the Steelers organization maybe is a little bit is pretty stand up overall. It's like, I mean, you've had 3 coaches in 50 years. I think you know what you're doing. I think a lot of people
yeah,
respect your organization as a whole. And so that's what makes me think there's clearly something there overall. And they had every opportunity to get Shador Sanders, and they didn't for a reason. So they either,
yeah,
so actually not even just Shador Sanders, but Tyler Shuck, Jalen Milrow, Dylan Gabriel,
yeah.
Riley
That's
Leonard,
fair.
not Riley Leonard. There was another quarterback taken before him, I thought.
Uh,
I'd have to go back and double check, but,
yeah,
uh, like, you had every opportunity to go and get them, so, and they needed to address it, and no offense to Will Howard, but, like, I don't think he's gonna be the savior in Pittsburgh, so I think he's just a typical run-of-the-mill day 3 quarterback that I hope he's got a good long journeyman career backing up quarterbacks.
yeah,
You know, that because I think that's just what he's gonna be. So,
yeah,
I think they're waiting for something overall. Also, I've been saying that, so I really hope I'm right in that category. That's a separate conversation.
yeah. So overall, did we do grades? I don't think we did. I
No, you go
I'll give
first.
this, my average is a C. I'm gonna go with an above average grade here. I'll go C plus to B minus in that territory. I thought they did a good job with the DK Metcalf trade. I thought that was a fair compensation. Then they gave him a big extension. And I can't really poke holes in any of the picks that they made here. I thought they got good value uh, for the picks.
I'll give him a B plus. I like if I include DK Metcalf, like I really like what they did on day 1 and day 2. If you include DK, well, I still like what they did in day 1 and day 2. Even if you
Yeah,
don't include it, I like those 2 picks. But I do also believe, though, it's what does make it perfect, though, is there is still some of that ambiguity on the quarterback situation.
Yeah.
What I just said is what I believe is going to happen. Like I'm thinking logically, like they wouldn't just be like, "Oh, Mason Rudolph, you're a Super Bowl winning quarterback, right?" Like
Yeah.
I don't think they would just do that. So I think there's something behind the scenes. That being said, if I'm wrong, which rarely happens, if we're being honest, but if I am wrong, and then they go into the league with a quarterback, Mason Rudolph, you spend a second round pick on DK Metcalf with no quarterback really to throw to him at all, and you're going to be relying on winning football games the same way you did last year. So we'll kind of have to wait and see. And they just need this quarterback situation. I know Aaron Rodgers would be a stopgap quarterback, but still, you're going to have to try and figure it out somehow.
Yeah. So let's go ahead. Let's wrap up this video here. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. That is the best way to help out the channel. While you're down there, leave a comment on what you thought of the Pittsburgh Steelers 2025 draft class. Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you have done differently? None of that. We'll see you guys next time.